Today, I'm joined by Ildefons Lima, who this month hung up his boots after representing Andorra for the last 26 years. Ilde, you must be incredibly proud of your achievement.
Yeah, obviously, playing for 26 years with your national team, it's a thing to be proud. And during these days, I'm understanding what I did, and I'm so proud because it's an amazing thing, and I really achieved it.
And you've been recognised by FIFA, by UEFA, and also by the Guinness Book of Records for the longest international career in men's football after those 26 years for Andorra. How does that feel to be a record breaker in the international game?
I'm very proud of everything that I did, but the most important thing maybe is not the record, because as you know, the record are to be surpassed. But I live a lot of memories. I have a lot of memories of my career, amazing moments in amazing stadiums and with amazing opponents. Our just a few wins, but I'm so proud, and I think it's more important the moments that I have during my career that this record. Obviously, it's an amazing achieve, but all my career was made of that moment.
Definitely. And you made your final appearances firstly on home soil against Belarus, and then you played your last match in Switzerland. What were the emotions like leading up to those matches?
The most emotive game was against Switzerland because it was my last game. 3 days before, I have played for a few minutes in Andorra, but when you play your last game, it's something special. It was my family in Switzerland. I played for 2 seasons in Switzerland. All the stadium when I was going out of the pitch started to clap. It was an amazing standing ovation, and that's the moments that make that all your career have a sense. And it was amazing. I have no words to explain how I feel, but you have moments where you want to cry, you want to love, you want everything, because it's 26 years playing with the national team, and it's arriving to the end, and it was a very emotive. That is a moment that I will remember during all my life.
And just going back to the start of your career, Ilde, you made your debut when you were a teenager. What were your hopes for your international career at the time? And did you expect to be playing 25 years later?
No, for sure not. I was 20. I was 17. It was my first international experience. It was the second international game of Andorra, and nobody can think about playing for 26 years. I just want to enjoy the game, to enjoy my. I was 17. I was traveling to Estonia. I was traveling in Europe, playing international games. And if a person in 1997 says to me, "Oh, in 2023 you will play your last game with the national team," I will say, "Oh, you are crazy." But I did it, and I'm so happy.
And you mentioned there, Ilde, that was only Andorra's second match. Now, you have the most caps for your country. You also have the most goals. So, how does it feel to be such an integral part of your nation's history in football?
I'm happy because I live. I explain during this day that I see the baby how he grow. It was the second game. We have no experience. We have just illusion to play because we have no idea about anything. Now things changed, and I now we have all the commodities to play. All we know, we have all the information about the opponents. We travel like big teams. We are like a big national team. And in 1997, we have players that we don't earn no money. We play because we were proud to play for our national team, and to enjoy to be together. And this is the world change, and played during these 26 years. You see the evolution of the real life and of football.
And I know, Ilde, that in terms of the domestic game in Andorra, it's still sort of an amateur setup. So how has it been for you over the last, quarter of a century to see the development of the national team, to see you, become on a level playing field with countries who have a much larger population than yourselves?
The first of all that I told to everyone is that we know that we are Andorra. We are a very small country. We are so proud, and we try to grow. And as you say now, development of my country in 26 years, it's the development of all the small countries, because we have more pitches to train, we have more resources, and this helps that when we go to the pitch to play against other national teams, we are more competitive. As an example, the Nations League that the UEFA creates helps us to be more competitive. And all the small national teams are growing, and I think that Andorra is doing too.
Yeah, definitely. And in one of your earliest games, Ilde, you actually faced Brazil ahead of their France 98 campaign, and you came up against the likes of Ronaldo, Bebeto, Rivaldo, Cafu, Roberto Carlos. What are your memories from that day?
It was amazing memory. I was 18. I was studying at the school, and on Monday and on Wednesday I was playing against Ronaldo.
Wow.
It was a very amazing thing that just now is a normal thing to play against big football stars, but in 1998 for us was our first important game, and to play against in that moment they were the world champions was amazing for us. And a few months later we play against France, that they won the World Cup. In 4 months we passed to play against just Baltic national teams like Estonia, Letonia, to play against the two last world champions, and everything changed. Our mind changed, and we started to live the dream, because it's very nice to play against Estonia, Letonia, or small countries, but when you play against big teams, it's something special and something different.
Mm-hmm. And what was it like? You mentioned you faced France in the first game after they lifted the World Cup, and you faced players like Zinedine, Zidane. What was that like when obviously they must have been on top of the world themselves? Could you sense it as you played them as well?
Yeah, because when you play against this player, you are living the dream. We play in Paris against France. With the stadium was full. I think was about 90,000 people. The World Cup trophy was there, and you say, okay, in 4 months I play against France, against Brazil. Now I can play against whoever, because it was like make an university career in 4 months, and that was very very important in our careers, and are the moments that I remember especially.
And you faced Zidane, you faced Ronaldo, and then later in your career you faced like Cristiano Ronaldo and Kylian Mbappe. What's that like to know that you've played with some of the greats, and that you're probably one of the only people to have done so in the professional game?
Yeah, I was a very lucky man to play against these guys. I play against both Ronaldos. That I think that there are just a few players that did that. I play against Mbappe. I play against the how I can say in English. I play the idols of different generations, and because to play for 26 years, it's a long period, and it was amazing. But as I told you at the beginning, it was very rare to play against that big players. But now against Andorra, we know that each qualifiers to the Euro or the World Cup, we play against big names, and one day is Mbappe, another is Cristiano, and we are very lucky.
And what's it like to share a pitch with them? And actually, do you ever get any time to spend with them or talk to them at the end of the game? And do you remember any of those conversations?
But there are just a few words, because sometimes you have common friends or something like that, because we play during a lot of years, and I met a lot of people inside and outside the pitch, and usually the conversation are short conversation and very respectful conversations with all the big names.
And Ilde, who was your sort of the hardest opponent that you faced, if you could pick a few?
Ronaldo Nazario.
Right.
Obviously, because I told to everyone, because it's the first big name that I play against, and maybe because the first love, you say, oh, this is Ronaldo, and mark all my career. I thought, oh, I play against Ronaldo. Or sometimes when I met all teammates that we play in Wembley or something, oh, you play in Wembley, we ask joking, I say, oh, I play against Ronaldo Nazario, and it's something very rare and very special. And because of that, because I was young, but I will remember Ronaldo Nazario forever. Obviously, there are another big names: Cristiano Ronaldo, Fernando Torres, Shevchenko, amazing names. But Ronaldo Nazario was number one.
And what's it like, Ilde, when you're used to playing at a domestic level, a certain level of footballer, and then you have to take on a world-class player? How do you prepare for that, and what's the difference when you're on the pitch?
Well, there is no difference. We are professionals. The
Yeah.
only difference between us and the other national teams is that they earn a lot of money. But we prepare the game to play against a big team, and that a domestic game. Sometimes it's easy to play against a big national team because you are more motivated for sure than to play a domestic game. And we know, as I told you, the first thing that you have to know is who you are, and enjoy the moment. But we are professional. We prepare the weeks in the same way if we play domestic, and that if we play in the national team, because for a small country like us is the normality. You are playing the domestic competition, and you know that in 3-4 days you are going to play in a big stadium against a big national team. And a few years ago maybe it was different, rare, but now it's over day by day.
So, Ilde, you're also a shirt collector, and you've amassed around 900 shirts.
No, more. I have
more?
1,300 about.
Wow, right. Which are your favourites, and when did that hobby start? Was it just as you started swapping shirts at the end of games?
I love shirts since I was a child, But when I started to play with the national team, in my second international team against Latvia, I started to swap shirts, and it was my first shirt of the collection. But I have important names like Cristiano Ronaldo, like Rooney, like Shevchenko, like Mbappe, like all the big European stars. But I have love for both shirts, and I have love for shirts like Mario Frick from Liechtenstein, Andy Servas for San Marino, because these shirts can explain my history with the national team. And I love all of them in the same way. Obviously, for a collector, it's not the same the shirt of Cristiano Ronaldo than the shirt of I don't know, Cipollina from Gibraltar.
Yeah.
But for me, are part of our history, are part of my history, and I love all. Obviously, there are important shirts like France when they won the World Cup, they play against us. The first shirt with the world champions star on a shirt was against Andorra. This is a very important shirt. I have another shirts in my collection from Yugoslavia, that it was a gift from the Italian Bruno Conti player that he played in 1981 against Yugoslavia, and we were friends, and he gave me the shirt. And this is an amazing shirt because Yugoslavia will not exist again.
Yeah.
And I have a lot. Sometimes I don't remember all the shirts that I have, but it's an unbelievable collection. Sometimes I talk with more people that have a collection or shirt and say, oh, I would like to have something like you. But I was lucky. I played with the national team, and I really enjoy it with the shirts.
Amazing. And Andorra has a population of around 80,000. So, you don't have as many players to call on. And I know that back in 2017, you actually earned your first point for 12 years. You also beat San Marino to end an 86-game winless streak. What's that feeling of elation like when, after such a run, you finally get the draw or you finally get the elusive win?
Well, as you told, we are 80,000 population, but with passport, we are just a few more than 30,000.
Wow, right.
That's more. Sometimes people talk about the miracle of Iceland, but where they can choose 10. That's why I think that when we really make a draw or we won a game, we have to work during a lot of years to take a good result. And really, I think that when we achieve one good result, it's an amazing moment, and I think that we enjoy more than any other national team for sure, because we have to work very hard to take a positive result.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, Elde, you've been the captain for a long time now, and while it's an honour to represent your country, is it sometimes quite difficult mentally when you are on a losing run? And how do you get the players together? Is there I expect there's a huge team spirit in the camp.
But as I told you a few times during the interview, we know who we are. It's obviously that we are Andorra, and if we play against England, the normal result will be a big quantity of goals for England. Mm-hmm. And no, we try to do our best to play with the heart, to play with the soul, and to make things difficult for the opponent. And sometimes we have to work with that just because we are just 30,000 people, and it's very, very, very difficult. But, as me, that I am 43, as the young players that are starting with the national team, we know that sometimes when we go to the pitch, we have to do everything, all our best, because obviously we can lose. But we have to lose with honor. It's not the same to lose 1-0, 3-0, 4-0, 6-0. That happens each weekend in all the leagues around the world, that to lose 20-0, that it's the difference between these big countries and Andorra. And we play with if you see a game, if you watch a game of Andorra, you watch that obviously we are not magicians with our feet, but we play with our hair, with our soul. We run, we fight, and this is more important thing. You cannot say nothing to a teammate that makes a wrong passage, but you can say something because he's not playing with everything that is in his hands, And obviously, when you know who you are, you try to be proud of that.
Yeah, of course. And Ilde, I said before that you're your nation's top scorer. Now, you weren't a striker, but do you think that you were able to score so many goals because of the way Andorra play? You obviously took advantage of a lot of set pieces.
I score 11 goals. If you see big national team defenders, they never score 11 goals with the national teams. Obviously, as we play, it's very difficult to score, but to be a defender with my height, it's I have more chances to score. Obviously, I scored a few goals from penalty kicks. Yeah. But I'm very proud to score 11 goals, and for a defender in the national team competition, I think it's a good number.
Yeah. And what was the most important goal you scored?
I think one of the most important was the goal that they scored against San Marino, because we play a very difficult game, as I told in many interviews, because when you play against England, if you lose, it's normal. But when you play against San Marino, Liechtenstein, you cannot do a mistake. You have to win. And it was a day that we won against San Marino. Now it's normal to play against small national teams because of the National League. But a few years ago, we never play against small countries. And this day, they come from a long number of matches, of losing matches like us. And one of two have to lose the game. And for us was a very important game, because since that game, we started to take some positive results, and something changed in our football. And since they did that game, Andorra take more positive results, more positive games, and I think it was a day to change our history. Obviously, I enjoy it when they score against Ireland in Lansdowne Road, or against Wales, that I scored the first goal in our stadium. It was an amazing sensation, but I enjoy each goal that I did with the national team, because for us it's very, very hard to score.
And in your club career, Elde, you played in a number of different countries. Do you think that actually helped you in your international career because you were maybe used to more different styles and different play?
But it helps to learn more about football and maybe to arrive to my 43 playing with the national team, because I play a lot of years as a professional. I have to work as a professional, and probably all that I learned during these years makes me continue playing until 43.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And all those years that you played, Ilde, what was the best stadium that you played at?
The best stadium?
Yeah.
I have a special love for Wembley.
Right.
But 2 times in Wembley. My brother played his last game with the national team in Wembley. In Wembley, we played in 2009.
Yep.
And Wembley is one of that stadiums that I'm gonna remember all my life. As I told you, sometimes when we met teammates that we play in Wembley, you say we told joking, you play in Wembley, because I think it's an amazing thing. I play in big stadiums around Europe, because in my career with national team, full of people, but Wembley is it's like a temple of football for football lovers.
Definitely. And what was it like to experience your career alongside your brother?
It was amazing because he was older than me. He played in a lot of teams. He played in Spanish First Division, and he show and I learned from my brother a lot of things, because he was a very experienced player, and I learned a lot of things playing together, and it was an honor. I think we play more than 50 international games together, and imagine if it's nice to play international games when your brother is next to you, it's better.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to ask Ilde about the population, because it's much smaller than other countries. What is the setup in terms of how can footballers become internationals in Andorra? As in, how many players actually play every week in Andorra?
How many players?
Yeah, so like obviously England, it's a big country with 60 million people, and you've got lots of different leagues. How many sort of players would you say are available to choose from?
I have no idea.
No,
absolutely no idea. But just a few.
Yeah.
Maybe I think we are no more than 100 players to choose.
Wow, right. And where do most of them play? Do most of the players play in Andorra?
No, we have a lot of players now playing in Spain, or we have 2 players playing in Slovenia, another playing in Macedonia. We have players playing where? In Spain, we have 2 players that play. One play in Villarreal B, that is Spanish La Liga. Another one play in Betis, the second team, that is in the 3rd Spanish league. And now during the years, we are having less players in Andorra, and I think that is important because of the level. When you play outside Andorra, your level is growing continuously, and that is the more important thing. But the young players usually stay playing outside Andorra.
Yeah, absolutely. And just finally, Ilde, I've loved talking to you. What would you say is the biggest highlight of your career?
The biggest highlights when we won against Hungary, because it was an amazing moment for my country, for my national team, and for me as a captain of a very small country to win a game and against not a big name of football, but Hungary, it's a very big country if you compare it to us. And when I play in Italy for Triestina, that I play in Serie B, and during this period in Serie B, play Juventus, Napoli, Genoa, Torino, and it was an amazing. It was amazing level, and I have amazing memories of that period.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Congratulations on such a marvelous career.
Thank you so much. It was a very. I have to work very much.
No, it was extraordinary. Oh, thanks a lot for joining me today, Ilde.
Okay, thanks. It's a pleasure for me. Big hug.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.